Browns QB Joe Flacco unravels in NFL playoff rout as Texans return 2 interceptions for TDs. The blinding excitement behind the comeback story that was Joe Flacco's, the Cleveland Browns quarterback, papered over one fatal flaw. Turnovers. More specifically, interceptions. And Flacco threw 2 of the worst kind in the third quarter of Saturday's AFC wildcard game against the Houston Texans, a 45-14 drubbing by Houston. The AFC South champions won their first postseason game since the 2019 playoffs. With Cleveland trailing 24-14 more than halfway through the third quarter, Flacco dropped back on 1st and 10 from the Houston 34-yard line. Texans defensive lineman Derek Barnett pressured Flacco from the veteran's throwing side. The quarterback appeared to try to throw the ball away, but it landed in the belly of Houston cornerback Steven Nelson. The ninth-year cornerback sprinted down the sideline with Texans defenders transforming into blockers to clear his path. 82 yards after he caught it, Nelson put the Texans up by 16. Flacco made his next mistake less 2:08 of game time later. He tried to hit tight end Harrison Bryant over the middle. He didn't see weak side linebacker Christian Harris. The second-year player from Alabama intercepted the pass and walked 36 yards into the end zone. The rout was officially on, and the Texans led 38-14 with 4:06 left in the third. Flacco became the first player to throw 2 pick-sixes in a playoff game since Todd Collins did it for Washington in the 2007 postseason against the Seattle Seahawks. Flacco threw an interception in all 6 games he started for Cleveland. The former Baltimore Ravens standout accounted for 8 interceptions, and he had a pair of multi-pick performances. His interception rate of 3.9% would have led the league had he had enough attempts to qualify. Meanwhile, the home crowd chanted MVP for Texans quarterback C.J. Stroud, an Offensive Rookie of the Year favorite as the third quarter closed. Stroud is trying to become the first rookie to win his first career playoff start since Brock Purdy did so for the San Francisco 49ers last year. "It's been amazing, being in this city as short as I've been for the love that I've got," Stroud said in a post-game interview on NBC. "I've really been just doing it for Houston." Flacco entered the game 5-0 in the wildcard round. The Browns signed him to an incentives-based contract after starter Deshaun Watson suffered a season-ending shoulder injury on November 12. Flacco made his first start on deck. 3 against the Los Angeles Rams, a loss, but the Browns won 5 in a row to clinch the number 5 seed in the AFC. Backup Dorian Thompson-Robinson, a 5th-round rookie, suffered a head injury in his first start after Watson went down. P.J. Walker was on the roster and started 2 games earlier in the season. But head coach Kevin Stefanski went outside the building and brought Flacco in to run his offense, a move that had he and DeMeco Ryans, his counterpart Saturday, as the front-runners for NFL Coach of the Year. Following a Thursday Night Football victory over the New York Jets on deck 28, Flacco, who will turn 39 on Tuesday, reflected on the journey that brought him from his couch, carpooling his children, to the playoffs weeks apart. "You don't know how many of these moments you're going to get," Flacco said, for the Browns. "Not too many people get the opportunity to have kids as old as mine and that understand what's going on, get to witness this. And I think it's cool for them, but ultimately, it's really cool for me. I'm going to remember this for the rest of my life. And anything that you get to do with people that you love, especially your children, they just make everything that much more special." Flacco's competitiveness remained even with the game out of reach by the start of the fourth quarter. He escaped a pass rush and ran 8 yards for the first down. The University of Delaware product fired his share of throws with zip for big completions. He connected his with his favorite target, David Njoku, 7 times, 11 targets, for 93 yards. Flacco finished 34 for 46 with 307 yards, his 5th straight game with at least 300 yards through the air, and a touchdown. The Browns' loss prevented a possible homecoming of sorts for Flacco against No. 1 seed Baltimore in the divisional round. Houston Texans Texas-sized turnaround. It was 370 days ago the Texans lost to Indianapolis Colts in Week 18, costing them the number 1 pick, which went to the Chicago Bears before landing with the Carolina Panthers via trade. Houston and coach Lovie Smith were chastised by some for the last-minute victory instead of securing the top overall selection. A lot has happened since. DeMeco Ryans was hired as head coach. He brought Bobby Slowick to be his offensive coordinator. General manager Nick Caserio used that No. 2 pick on Stroud, who has blossomed into one of the league's most complete passers in his first season. The GM traded up to take edge rusher Will Anderson Jr. That move has paid off in year 1, too. Ryan's defense, beyond the game-changing turnovers and scores, held the Browns to 2.9 yards per carry. The Texans sacked Flacco 4 times and were in his face on several more occasions.